Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wake Up Well. We are in a series at the moment looking at life after lockdown and looking at the beatitude from Matthew 5, verse 6. Those that hunger and thirst for righteousness will be filled. I just wanted to look at a passage in 2 Timothy chapter 2 this morning and just talk a little bit about pursuing righteousness and also fleeing away from youthful passions and lusts. So let me read these verses and then we'll share some stuff. Okay. 2 Timothy 2:22. So, shun and flee youthful passions and lusts, and aim at righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call upon the Lord from a pure heart. Paul is being very explicit here in his letter to Timothy. Timothy is much younger than Paul. He is growing in faith, growing in leadership at this time. Paul is being very clear about how we should live our lives and how Timothy should live his life in this world at that time. And his word to Timothy in that chapter and in these verses applies to all believers. Although Paul says youthful lusts, because he was speaking to Timothy, who was, as I mentioned, a younger man, doesn't mean we cannot ignore this word if we're older. Whether you're young or old, we are still human, we are still corrupted, we still have sinful lusts that are incited by the world and culture around us. And the world literally has one aim, to draw us away from God and the things of God and bring us damage by feeding us our lusts. There's a really interesting passage in 1 John 2. It says, because all that is in the world, the lusts of the flesh and the lusts of the eyes and the vainglory of life, it is not of the Father, but it is of this world. Today, the world is increasingly persistent with its endless stream of sinful and unclean temptations, and technology especially feeds into that category. It's easy to gratify our lusts just by a quick tap on our phone or a click on our computer or iPad. And with such diverse attractions that cater to our lusts, the world is ever present, tempting us 24 hours a day. So here's the thing: what should we do? How do we not fall foul of these temptations and lusts in the world around us? Paul's very clear. He says flee, run. Says to escape. That's what flee means. Escape, turn around from, about face. Doesn't mean to struggle with, but to run away from. The Bible does not say to resist lusts or overcome lusts with a strong faith. It doesn't say that. No, Paul uses the word flee. It's a definite and it's a very active word when it comes to how to handle lusts. And Romans 3:14 says, make no provision for the flesh to fulfill its lusts. We cannot afford in this day and age to be passive or complacent about lusts. Perhaps more than ever for in human history, we have to flee, we have to turn around from our lusts. And that's a really hard thing to do. And no believer is immune to the passion of lusts. No matter how much we love Jesus, no matter how long we've been saved, or how many experiences we've had of Christ, Paul's word of wisdom to flee is for every believer, since lusts are a constant peril to us all. The way not to be damaged and defiled by this is but to possess our vessel in sanctification and in honor, and it is to flee those things. However, Paul gives us a little bit at the end as well. He doesn't just stop at flee these youthful lusts and passions. He says, pursue righteousness. This is the key point here. Pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace. To flee in like an aimless manner and directionless way is difficult. But Paul not only taught us to flee from something, but also to pursue towards something as well. That's the key thing. On one hand, we are to flee something terrible, youthful lusts, and on the other, we are to pursue something wonderful, Christ as the source of our righteousness, faith, love, and peace. And while we flee, we are also to pursue Christ and all these virtues for living. So this is just a bit of encouragement for you today. Whatever you're facing with, whatever passions and lusts that you feel tempted with this morning, that just keep cropping their head up. Take heed of the words of 2 Timothy today. Flee from them, about face from them. But also in that fleeing, it's not aimless, it's not directionless. It is to pursue the things of God, to pursue righteousness. It is to pursue love. It is to pursue peace. And, this is a really kind of key thing for us coming out of lockdown, where we've had a year or so to ourselves, in a sense, where we may have allowed old habits to maybe creep back in. And now as we come out of lockdown, let us take hold of that beatitude from Jesus. Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness will be filled. And let us be filled as a community. And let us pursue him together. Amen. God bless you all. Have a great day.